All right, here we are for another episode of Let's Talk Reef. Wow, it's if I got you guys joining me today with all the weather the way it's been around the country, it's pretty amazing, I would say. I hope we're going to have a great show today with a lot of people, and I see you guys are already rolling in. We're already well over 100 people in the live stream. Today we've got a special guest here, Mr. Mark Callahan, a.k.a. Mr. Saltwater Tank.
You got the tank part right.
Yes.
Some people just say saltwater, but I can't claim the whole ocean, just the tank.
Just the tank, okay. Well, Mark is out here in studio, out here at our offices. Mark is doing some filming out here, and I said, why don't you come on, and we'll have a great Let's Talk Reef episode. You can see what it's all about. I can teach you how to do one.
You're saying I should live stream more.
Actually, it's good. You're on video a lot more these days, aren't you?
Yeah, you know, the wife finally let me out of the house so I can get back on camera.
Yeah, and you're doing stuff for saltwateraquarium.com.
Yep, we do 2 shows a week at saltwateraquarium.com. We've got more of an intro series on, we did a budget build, and we're building out to a budget reef. And then currently we're doing a tank automation series, a lot of stuff around Apex stuff for more of the advanced people or people that are looking at automation but don't know quite where to start.
So at least 2 videos a week.
I'm doing 2 videos a week. I've been doing 2 videos a week since February. Thank you very much.
That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work to do those. And do you have a regular live stream schedule?
I don't.
Okay.
Because I'm on the road that every time I try to set one up, something comes up. Someone wants me to build a tank or come and film.
You just kind of got to do it, man. You just kind of do it. So, Mark, when did we first meet? Let's see if you can remember. The first time we met in the circumstances.
The first time we met, it was before you even with Neptune.
Yes.
That was in Southern California.
Yes.
At a trade show.
Yes.
Yep.
Do you remember which one?
That was the Marine Aquarium Expo.
Very good. Wow, Max.
2010.
Yeah,
2010?
wow.
Yep,
Yeah,
2010-ish. Yep, you were giving a talk.
Was I?
You were giving a talk. You were one of the speakers.
Oh, I was. Okay. I don't even remember that part, but okay.
Yep.
I remember sitting down while you were trying to mac down your lunch and talking to you while you were eating your lunch, and it was like the first Mr. Saltwater Tank videos that were ever done, right?
I had a little more hair. I was probably eating an In-N-Out burger, though.
No. You were eating the slop that they gave us at the event. Don't you remember they had like a whole area? But anyway, I was just thinking about that the other day. Like, when did I first meet Mark? I'm like, I remember that moment. I sat down next to him.
That was AC3 time zone.
What? No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
I had an AC3 at least. I didn't have an Apex
but the
yet.
Apex came out in 2009.
I didn't have one yet.
Okay.
I wasn't privileged enough to have
like me. Well, anyway, it's always good to reminisce about those times, all the trade shows. There's so many more trade shows now to go to. You know, it's crazy, huh?
You can't split your time because there's just too many to go to. You got to pick and choose.
So, before you got connected up with saltwateraquarium.com, right? You were not doing so many videos for a while because you were out doing what?
Building tanks for people. It
Okay.
was. I'm in a kind of a niche market because my clients are not people who want a tank but don't want to touch it. They're people who are hobbyists but want enough of a complex system that they say, hey, I don't want to make the mistakes. You've made the mistakes. Pay you to get it done. Build me a great system. And then over about a course of a year, I don't hear from them as much because they've taken over, they understand it, and the thing's on rails and it goes.
But I think one of the interesting things about some of the clients, at least that I've seen with what you've told me, is, you know, we often think of us who we do all the stuff ourselves, and then we think of people who get aquariums almost like furniture, right? And they want nothing to do with any part of it.
Yep.
But I think your clients have been more somewhere in the middle, which is they don't want to kind of kick it off and get it going. It's like too much work, but they do want to take control over some of the aspects of the tank. Is that true?
It ramps up. I come in and I design it with the client. I build it out, and I've handed them basically a baby with no real instruction manual, but I'm there to guide them, get them used to it, and then over time, they hear less from me because they don't need me as much, and then they take over, and then I'm just checking in on the system, and it goes.
Really cool. So 1 or 2 of these have an Apex on them?
Every single one of them has an Apex on them. My Apex dashboard is the little drop-down button where it says 10, 20, or 100. I hit the 100, and they all line up.
Yeah.
And that way I can watch everything. I get alerts. I rarely get an alert because something rarely goes wrong, but if it does, I get a heads up. I've had husbands call me on their wife's tank and say, hey, I need to move water over. I've been at a stoplight. I go, hang on, doop, hit the button, pump moves, turns off. They're like, thank you. So
it's definitely makes it much easier for guys like you. I know that. It's interesting. We have a lot of service companies using our product, but it amazes me that we don't have more. I mean, the amount of tanks that I go and look at, and you probably see some of these as clients that you come in on, and I'm just like, why aren't they running an Apex on this thing?
It's way too much liability. I've been in tanks in office buildings and high rises, and there's no Apex, no leak detectors, and like this thing leaks. It shouldn't leak if you do it right, but if it does.
By the time you figure it out.
And I tell them, it's like, you don't want to have a call client and say, hey, something's leaking, but it's much better to say, hey, it's Saturday afternoon, we've just detected something wrong with your tank, we've got people inbound to handle it, as opposed to whoever comes in first on a Monday morning, which is going to happen when the CEO is flying in from out of town, there's a big meeting, you got water on the floor, maybe dead fish.
Right.
You want to avoid that, look like a hero. I can't believe the number of service companies that don't run.
Yeah, I just think it's just, you always do what you always do kind of a thing for a lot of them. But they're catching on. They're catching on more and more. But this is an interactive show that we do here, okay? So I'm going to right away here try to stump Mr. Saltwater Tank. I've got this paragraph that Alessandra wrote. Let's see if I'm able to actually drag it over here and make magic happen, because it's a long one. It says, hey, Terrence and Mark, I've been a big fan of Neptune Systems for a very long time and following Mr. Saltwater Tank TV since the very beginning.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am.
Ma'am, it's Alessandra. Great job on the both of you. Here's a question to Mark. When it comes to using cupramine during the quarantine period, do you always ramp up the dose slowly each time or only for certain fish? And exactly how slowly? I don't even know this, so I hope you do.
First down, a shout to the lady reefers. Bring your friends. We need more of you. Alexandra, for cupramine dosing, that is my dosing of choice for copper. I always start slowly. The first thing I do is I get the fish in, I get them eating, and then once they're eating, I'll start with half of the recommended day one dose for the cupramine. It's likely not going to show up on your test kit. Make sure you use Seachem's copper test kit with their cupramine. You want the same test kit from the manufacturer. That's fine. Go slow. Use the same dose the next day. If it takes you a week to get it up there, that's fine. Doesn't matter the fish. Go slow. Even the sensitive fish, I've treated cupramine on mandarins, no problem with it. I go slow, ramp them up slow, keep them there, and it goes fine.
Excellent answer. All right. Glad I didn't completely stump you there because that would have been kind of embarrassing.
It happens. It happens.
Okay. Let's see. We got other questions on here too. Let's see. Darwin Stinton says, waiting for my Trident from New Wave Aquarium. Ship out more to them. Well, they're going out as fast as we can get them out, guys. We'll talk more about that maybe. Chris wants to know what's with, oh, I can't even get it over there. What is it?
He's not fishing, Chris. It's
Wilson. It's a Where's Waldo Gone Fishing shirt, okay? So what is it with that?
No, it's Waldo with Wilson from Castaway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's got a buddy now.
Yeah, so he was lost for a long time. I get it. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Jake Speed, love the shirt. Where can you get it? You going to give a plug to whoever you got the shirt from?
Yep, all my shirts come from a website called Glenn's Tees, G-L-E-N-N-Z, glens.com, or Google Glenn's Tees. You'll find it. They all come from there. Some very fun shirts. Been with that guy since the beginning. If you've been watching since the beginning, I had his clownfish pie shirt. That shirt helped kick me off. So glens.com, G-L-E-N-N-Z.
Cool. All right. So I have a couple of things, to go over that are regular news stuff that we do on my show. So I got to kick a couple of those on here if I can get my cursor back. Hello. There we go. Okay. So if you guys don't know already, I need you guys to subscribe and like to the channel. Okay. We've got a ton of people in here right now. We got over 200 people. So tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your other fish freaks about it. Subscribe on YouTube as well. You got to hit the subscribe button, or as my son says, you got to mash it.
Mash it.
You got to mash that button. That's what he told me I'm
Usually
supposed to say.
Usually that's for like a physical button, like mash the gas.
Well, no, it's like I guess what the kids say now on the YouTube
mash.
stuff. Yeah, you have to mash that subscribe button.
Okay.
And then you have to hit the little bell if you want to get the notification. That's what I heard. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Next up, we have stuff that's going on. I'm going over your face there because I'm usually not doing this with the guests. We'll put this in the middle. This is what's happening in the U.S. where we're going with our shows. I don't know if any of these you're doing. We're already way down on the list here to Reefapalooza, New York. Are you going to be there?
I will not. I'll be home.
Oh, lucky man.
You have to go home at some point, Terrence.
Yes, you do travel a lot. Oh, is it mash it or smash it? Okay, so Devin, I think that's a Canadian thing. Devin's from Canada. Maybe
Canada?
They say mash there and we say smash.
Canada, eh?
I don't know, but hey, I'm old, so maybe it is mash. Anyway, we're going to be at Reefapalooza this coming weekend. We're going to have our usual big tank that we have. So, big tank, big booth, all the gear, the Trident, the does, everything happening.
Well, there's going to be a Trident there.
There is going to be a Trident there. And we are going to have a raffle for a Trident from the booth.
You could win. If you don't play, you can't win.
So you can go ahead and buy raffle tickets, and the money is going to go to charity. It's going to go probably to the Coral Restoration Foundation.
Fantastic.
So that's pretty awesome. and you have to be at Reefapalooza
Show up.
to buy the tickets inside our booth. You'll buy the tickets in our booth, and we'll have the drawing in our booth on Saturday. I don't know exactly what time, but it'll be in the afternoon sometime. The tickets will be $1 per ticket, and I imagine it'll be quite popular for sure.
Reefapalooza is a given. If you're in the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area, Connecticut, that's where you're going to be this weekend if you're a reefer.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So we're really excited. We do all these, obviously, all throughout the year. The Aquashella in August was canceled and moved, I guess, to October. We won't be doing that one now, so...
I'll be there.
You'll be in Aquashella
I'll
in
be
Chicago?
at Aquashella, Chicago.
Okay, so you can carry the Apex torch for us while you're there?
The sign, right?
Yeah. Well, we won't be having a raffle for a Trident at Aquashella because we won't be there. But we'll be there in spirit. We wanted to be there in August, but they moved it on us, so we had to bow out of that one because we have Reefapalooza in California the week after that we'll be doing that one.
When's that?
The 17th of August?
No. Reefapalooza, California.
Yes, the 17th of August.
August. I thought it was October.
Oh, they moved that one.
Okay.
So that one this year is sooner, and that's why we can't do it because we basically have that. We have what? We have that, and we have MACNA as well. That's happening. So we have 3 shows in a row. If we were to do the Aquashella one, in October we have the Reefapalooza one that would have in Chicago. That would have been right around the same time as theirs.
But you can be gone because you have apexes on all your tanks.
Yeah, yeah, sure. But anyway, we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to going to California again, obviously in Southern California. We're already in California. And also going to MACNA, which is in Orlando this year. You're going to be there?
I will be there. I'm talking. I got the invite, so I will be giving a talk about second tanks.
There you go.
Everyone needs a second tank, whether it be when you have a tank, you need another one, or you've had one and now you're going on to number 2.
And we will have our meetup, our morning meetup on Friday morning like we usually do. I will have a workshop on Saturday. I usually don't get a normal speaking slot because I don't think anybody uses Apexes, so they don't really ever have somebody speaking on Apex gear in the regular talk. So, but that's why we fill it in with our own stuff.
And if I remember right, there's a little bit of alcohol mixed in with the user breakfast. Is mimosa
Yes.
still a thing?
I don't know if we're doing that again this year or not. Saltwateraquarium.com usually ponies up some pretty sweet food spread there.
Okay.
So I don't know what we're doing for that yet. But maybe if enough people...
You could do a tequila sunrise. That's orange, right?
Yeah, that's true.
There you go.
That's a good idea.
Done and done.
Why don't you tell Ken?
You want to text him right
Yeah,
now?
tell Ken. Hey, Ken, we need another $5,000 for champagne.
All right. That's a lot of good champagne. You should be there Friday morning at MACNA.
So anyway, you guys be sure to come out to all of our events. We what's next? We have Trident news. Mark, do you have a Trident?
I do. I have one on my tank and a couple clients' tanks. I was checking it on the flight out here. It's great.
So now you just made everybody mad. You realize that, right? Because the vast majority of people out there, or so I'm told, can't get a Trident. And anytime anybody who has one mentions it, they are pretty much, on that list.
Well, there may be a little mention later in the show about where you could get.
Yes, there is a tease. So if anybody is on this, we've got how many people now? We've got 216 people on the live stream. There may be a way, if you're looking still to get a Trident, by the end of the show, we might have some inside secrets on how you might make that happen. So stay tuned. Don't leave the live stream because who knows when I'm going to give out that secret.
My head's replaced by a Trident.
Oh, look at you. There, okay.
No one cares about me anyway. They just want to see the Trident.
Exactly. More Trident, less Mark.
Whatever makes people happy, I'm all for it.
So yeah, Devin says there's a raffle this weekend. Where you been, Devin? Man, we just talked about that. So we will later on in the show hopefully give you maybe some secrets on how you can get a Trident if you want one. But the real purpose of being on this show today with you, other than being with you, is we got something to announce.
There's always something new.
There's always something to announce. Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to hold off on that. He just looked back and gave you a hint. Let's talk about, so if you want to get a Trident, we're putting them out as fast as we possibly can. Mark was actually back there today filming.
I promise I was not holding out the production line with my filming. Promise, swear.
So, Mark, I know I gave you the explanation
Yep.
of how it goes and what we do. Maybe since they don't ever believe me, maybe you can tell them what you saw.
It was great to see the amount of effort that you guys are going through in not only producing them, because they're all made by hand, handmade in the USA, but then checking them. There was a bench of, I couldn't even count them all, of Tridents that are getting tested, even getting retested if they weren't quite to spec before they went out. These aren't just put together and thrown in a box and go. They've really gone through a lot of rigorous testing to make sure the QC is there, which is great to see. And when you do that, it takes time, but in the end, you get a better product, especially as much as we're trusting.
And it takes specialized people doing the actual work too, because it's not just, we have the people who assemble stuff, which that takes a lot of skill as well. So you can't just, I know people say, well, why don't you just triple the production? I wish there was a way to do that, but there isn't really a way. So we're doing it the best we can to ensure the best quality we possibly can.
And mine's been working great since January. It just goes.
Good. Now, next thing up is, and we kept talking about this, we did have some leaky reagents. You might have seen the brouhaha over this.
Wait, leaking is a relative term, because we're talking the bag is moist and maybe there's a drop or two.
Yes, I know, but it definitely did not meet our quality, expectations, and we had to fix it, and we are pretty certain on the reagents that we have that one solved now. Last time I came on 2 weeks ago, I said we think we do, and I think we've got, I think we're probably in the 90 percentile now.
It's good to see you improving.
So I've got a little fourth wall over here with Paul. He's off camera. He's with a thumbs up. So, I'm kind of going, 90%.
Well,
leave myself a 10% window there still. But anyway, I definitely think we've got that one solved. So let's hope it is. I know we get questions about international, when people can get them internationally for the Trident. That's at least a couple of months away. And I'm certain that the quantity will not meet your expectations because, we're going to have the same kind of problems, obviously, with meeting demand. But at least some should be able to start showing up over there in a couple months or so. Any other Trident questions? Again, since we're interactive here, let's see. What do we have? Well, we got other kind of general questions. Where is the stupid cursor? Just hides on me in that computer. I need to make it in that, what do they call it?
Zoom?
No, where it's for the people who have bad eyesight. They make the thing gigantic. That's what I need to do. Okay, let's see if there are any questions.
Oh, Bob now wants a Trident.
Okay, is there a question at all? Oh, so Robert Rayworth asked about buying him over in the UK. So like I said, you're not going to be able to have them. It's funny, a couple of the pieces of feedback I've gotten from people is I've talked to somebody in the UK. They said, we're not going to get it till 2020, mid-2000. I'm like, where did that come from?
That's 11 years away. Who knows what you guys will be running by then?
Yeah. Ken Pacheco, who won his at a trade show we had in Colorado earlier this year, won his in a raffle. And it was signed personally by Kurt.
So is that the guy who won the first one?
Yep, that's the first one off the assembly
nice
line.
Work, Ken.
So he's pretty stoked, I'd bet. Let's see here. I don't know if there's any other questions, really. Somebody wants us to hurry up to let out the secret info because they're going to sleep.
I was going to say, why don't you just...
This is a funny one to me. A little funny. Let's see if I can get it to show up. There it is. Can the Trident be enclosed in an acrylic case to lower the noise? So I guess the answer is yes, but it's funny because we don't really have a lot of complaints about the noise. It is a strange noise. It's probably a noise...
I would not classify it as strange.
Okay.
It's a very cool, techie, scientific, something cool is happening with your tank noise.
Yes, it is, but it's not common. It's common maybe if you are into, I don't know, blue whales or...
That's what I'm saying.
Or Star Wars.
Again, both of these things are cool.
But I can see how some people might be annoyed. I guess you could put it in an acrylic case, but if you compare it to other ways to test your tank in an automated sense, it's definitely not that noisy.
I can understand taking a unicorn and put it in an acrylic case to keep the thing.
Oh, to keep it nice?
Yeah.
To keep it in nice shape. That's probably
then
a
you
good
can show
idea.
it off to your friends, like, look at my unicorn in my acrylic case. That's where I keep it.
Okay, another question says, when do you change the first reagent A? So reagent A, it depends, right?
It depends on how often you're testing. And the Trident will actually tell you on the dashboard that it needs to be refilled, and you can also just click on the tile and see approximately how many tests are left, so you can keep an eye on it.
So reagent A is exhausted twice as fast as reagents B and C. And so if you use the minimum number of tests, which are 4 alkalinity a day, it should last you about 30 days. Again, if you do a couple of calibrations in there or manual tests or things like that, it's going to last less than that 30-day amount.
But in the 2-month kit, you got another bottle.
There you go.
There you go.
It sounds like a cool original Star Trek noise, but it bugs my wife. That's Mike, this guy, the one who was complaining about the sound. Well, there is a solution.
Equivocate.
Well, that's one solution. Okay.
You know, wives come and go, but a reef tank is forever.
Yeah, there you go. Don't get me started because I can come up with, OWS. Okay. Let's see. Aquarium Plants of Florida is waiting for their first shipment. Help. I don't know when they're going to get their first shipment. Basically, the way that our dealers get the shipments, I mean, you don't get that many. You're a dealer of our products.
I'm still waiting.
Okay, so it's one of these things where the dealers who are the most active dealers with the biggest customer bases who are selling a lot of Neptune gear, they get a higher proportion of the allocation of the Tridents.
Makes sense.
Alessandra just keeps asking you all sorts of questions, but I think we're going to move on. So I know one person noticed the box behind us because I saw it in the comments.
That's good.
That's good.
People are paying
Somebody's
attention.
paying attention.
We haven't put them to sleep yet.
It is, I don't know if you can see it in the pictures on there or not, but dun, 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 there it is, the ATK V2, Mark. Mark's, it's a little dark over there, buddy, but yes, they can see it. Don't knock over everything.
I'm not going to. You act like I don't know what I'm doing.
It has been a while since you've done a lot of these videos, and you don't do too many live videos. You said so yourself.
I'm never going to get to the end of it. That's all right. They don't care about that. They want to know about this, Terrence.
Okay, so this is the ATK V2. 2 years ago, we came out with the automatic top-off kit.
Yep.
Okay, it's sold amazing. We have a lot of customers using it. But with every product, there's things that you can do to make it better. And
Absolutely.
so the Apex 3 years ago, we got a new Apex. We made the Apex better. 2 years later, we've made the ATK better. And how about we open it up and go through some of the stuff?
What's in
the
the
box?
box?
How about that? You know what movie that's from?
Yeah. What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Nothing.
Man, I wanted to know. That really upset me at the end of that movie. All right, so let's see what's in the box here. We got time. What else you got there? I think I might have missed one fitting, but that's okay. We got this thing.
Oh, here you go.
Oh,
The reducer.
yes, that's an important one also.
Wait. This is one of the most important features of any Neptune product.
Oh,
The sticker.
yes, the sticker.
Put it on your car. Put it on your car. If you send us a photo of you in traffic with this on your car, I'll send you a prize.
You can get another sticker. Actually, don't forget, sometime later in this show, we're going to give you the secret to where you get a really high likelihood of being able to get a Trident, just like this one behind us here. Okay. So Trent already said, oh God, if it only works with the new Apex. No, okay, the Trident still works with any Apex.
ATK. ATK works with any Apex.
Well, why am I talking about the Trident?
I don't know. You brought it up.
The ATK works with any Apex. This is why live streams are great, So the ATK, we changed some things. We're going to go over those here with Mark. We talked about it earlier. The FMM is still the same FMM that comes with it. This is the brains of the ATK.
Yep.
One of the things we did is, as you know, the ATK was, I believe, the first product that we had that ran standalone.
Standalone.
Did not need an Apex at all. It still doesn't need an Apex.
You still run it by itself.
Absolutely. But as with all of these automatic top-offs, very often you get false alarms.
Sure.
It just happens. There's lots of different configurations in sumps. There's lots of different fill times, everything. And we have some pretty complicated algorithms in here to protect your tank more than anything. And one of the things that we did with the ATK version 2 is we updated the firmware so that there's a little bit better algorithm in here to have less false alarms on the tank. So that's one of the things that we did, software-wise. Okay? Next thing that we did was we made some modifications to our optical sensors. We've had the optical sensors out there, and one of the interesting things is that in saltwater, it's not about if, but it's about when it's going to get into something. Whether it's your pump, whether it is a sensor, whether it's a float switch, it doesn't matter. a temperature probe, anything. The water is going to get in there. It may not be in a year, it may not be in 2 years, it may be in 6 years, but it's going to get in there.
It's going to get in there.
So we did have a few failures on our optical sensors where we got some water incursion in the sensor. So one of the things we did is go back and look to see how we can make these things have a much higher longevity, much longer time that they'll be able to operate correctly for customers, and made some changes in this version of the ATK.
Okay.
They still look the same. They still more or less operate the same. They just they're just going to work better in salt water.
Got it.
Okay. This is the really big thing that we did.
It's now not black, it's gray and orange.
Yes, that was the big thing that we did.
Perfect. All right, we're done. Let's go home.
We're over. Okay, so the pump that we had, amazing pump in the PMUP. It pumps a very good head pressure all the way up to 14 feet. Most of the pumps in automatic top-offs, what have you seen?
Maybe 5.
Maybe 5 or 6 feet.
If it gets up into your tank, it's like
a trickle. And that's one of the reasons why we did the PMUP to begin with, was to get that pressure out of it. We did have, again, we had a few failures on things, for instance, on the pump going dry. So you can't let most pumps go dry.
Yep.
We had some failures where foreign matter got into the pump. And we also had a situation where the pump would not sit up straight, and sometimes that would cause issues for people as well. So we try to solve all of those. So first and foremost, now the pump, if it runs dry, will not burn up.
Wait, on its own?
On its own.
If it won't burn up, it'll stop?
It'll just stop, and then it'll try to restart. You know, very similar kind of to how our wave pumps work.
Okay.
And we redesigned this from the ground up. This is, I mean, completely different shell, completely different pump electronics. Everything about this is different. It also has a temperature shutoff, so if it were to overheat for some reason, that also, it's going to shut it off. It has a removable screen, so the screen comes off.
And the impeller comes out?
Yeah, and the impeller comes out. It's really easy to clean, so that's a huge improvement.
Yeah, definitely.
Over the last one.
Now, is there a task in Apex Fusion to clean your impeller? Is there a reminder for that too?
Well, you could set a reminder, certainly in the, what is it, the calendar? The calendar reminders. If I could put this back together, I can't.
You
There
had
we
trouble
go.
with
Boom.
that earlier. Oh.
Done. It still has pretty much the same, all the same specs. I think it uses maybe a couple watts more, up to 19 watts instead of 17. Still has 100 gallons per hour. You could even use this in the back of your little nano tank.
And you suggested something earlier that was really cool. Since it's a continuous duty pump, that could run a media reactor, like a small dual media reactor.
Yeah, I actually run one of these at home on my little dual media reactor with the carbon and the GFO. You're coming over to my place later, you can see it. And it does great because it has such a good head pressure in it. It can actually push through all that carbon and GFO.
Fantastic.
So that's what's new in it. Obviously, the PMUP, since it's new, is available separately as well. So that plugs in to your Energy Bar 832.
So if you want to replace your old PMUP with a new one, you can do that.
You can do that. If you want to use it, as I said, for a media reactor, you can do that as well.
Right.
Plug it in there. If you've already used those 2 ports for something, though, we do sell a version that has a power supply with it.
Okay.
That has the mating connector for the PMUP, this 2-pin connector. And the good part is, price-wise, everything has stayed the same. So 2 years, we've not raised the price.
Okay.
We have tariffs on things that are coming in.
No, that's never happened.
Okay, so, but we're still not raising the
Still
price.
not raising the price.
Okay, and so this PMUP by itself is $39.95. With the power transformer, it's $49.95.
Okay.
And this is $199.95.
Same price as always.
Same price as always. And of course, you can connect this up to your Apex, as you know.
Sure, absolutely.
With the I almost said USB again. Why do I do that? On camera only, the Aquabus port.
So if you don't have an Apex, you can run the FMM. If you don't have an Apex, you can buy this with a power supply and run that to use your pumps too.
Yeah, lots of different uses. One of the other things too, I know some people like to take this and basically dust off all their rocks and their sand and everything, use it like a little utility pump in their aquarium. But I have been told, okay, by the man Paul himself, if you do that,
yes,
and you take it back out, you must rinse it in fresh water or run it in a cup of fresh water before you store it. Otherwise, obviously, it's salt water and it gets crusty and whatnot, and then you go to put it back on, and it's like concreted in there. So definitely rinse it off.
Pro tip, when any of your stuff gets in salt water, rinse it off in fresh water.
Yes,
before you put it away.
All right, so let's see what we got here for some questions. We go up to where we were. God, there's a lot already.
That's good.
Paul, you have a question over there?
Is it quieter than the previous
Is it quieter? Yes, that's a very good question. It is quieter than the previous pump.
I didn't know the last one was
But
loud.
it's not that loud, but I think what happens in general for people is, as you know, anything that makes a vibration is basically a speaker, okay? And if you take that and put, two hard pieces of something together and it runs and it's making that vibration, then it's going to turn whatever it's touching into a speaker. And so this is a very common occurrence for people with different pumps and whatnot, that they don't have any kind of separation between the pump and, say, the bottom of something.
And then your container is inside your sump, which is probably wood, which is probably sitting on a hardwood floor, and you got...
Yeah, and I mean, you can suspend this. You could get another, some of the guys out there 3D print these little stands and stuff that you could do. But I don't think it's noisy. I think it's absolutely quieter than the previous one, but I'm sure we're going to hear all about it when it gets out there in the field, and everybody's going to tell us. Another question, Paul?
Is there a new algorithm on the FMM module, or is it the same as the old algorithm?
There have been changes. So it essentially is the same. The question was, is there, you might not have heard because Paul's off camera. The question is the FMM's algorithm in standalone mode, because that's where the only place it would really get used is in standalone mode, because otherwise the Apex has control over it. Is it the same algorithm for doing the adding of the water and checking the sensors? For the most part, it's the same, but there have been some tweaks to the way that the timing works in order to give less false alarms.
Great question.
Are the improved optical sensors available separately? The answer to that is yes, they are available separately. Is the magnet suspect of corrosion? I owned one and I had to sell because it broke and got rusted. This is a very common thing, and I'll give some tips on this too. First of all, if you drop this on the floor, even if it doesn't look like there's a crack in it, there's highly likely on a hard floor, not on like a carpeted floor, obviously, that you could have created a gap in some of where the sealing is on the magnet, on the outside magnet, or obviously on the inside magnet. If that happens, you won't possibly notice.
But
Salt water creeps into everything, and it will start to rust the magnets that are on the inside. So one of the things I always recommend to people is, first, don't drop it. And second, if you have anything with a magnet or metal or whatever in your tank, check it once in a while.
sure.
Because many of the ones I've seen that have had this problem, it's probably been like that for months.
Wow. Things don't rust overnight.
Yeah, and you'll see it if it started to separate or whatnot. Now, the other thing too that happens is people let these things slam together. And when that happens, again, you can put a little fracture in the acrylic on these, and water again can go into it.
Just put your finger in between there before you close it
Yeah,
down.
just be really careful, with it. Treat it nice, and it'll work well for you. And check it every once in a while.
Oh, Devin wants to know when he can get one.
Okay, so 12-gallon Nano, which is, I believe, Eric Schulist, I believe that's who 12-gallon Nano is, says he's running a new PMUP on our ATK right now. So what's really cool about that is that the guys who were in the Trident NSI, those guys became part of the NSI for the new PMUP. So all those guys, I wouldn't say all of them, but a good number of them decided to get the new PMUPs and have been testing them already.
It's been testing for a while.
Oh yes, absolutely. And of course we have our own labs here where we put it looks like an army of PMUPs hanging in this 100-gallon or 160-gallon tank, and they're just all kind of hanging around, spinning around and doing their things, dancing in the tank. It's a PMUP party, exactly. And we cycle them up and down. We measure the power. So often the same reason we have power monitoring, right, is when a pump or a device starts to act different from the way it was originally, you will often see it in its power consumption.
Right.
So we monitor the power on them as well to see if they're using too much or too little, and put everything through its paces. So, okay.
David's torn between setting up a new Apex or staying on the live stream. What a dilemma. Now, David, again, there's something coming at the end of the show. Yeah, the Apex will be there. We're glad you're excited. You're not going to want to miss out on the news.
Here's a perfect question from Daryl. Let's see if I can get this one over here for everybody to see. I really got to perfect that little swipe action. There we go. Daryl Anson says, can the FMM that comes with the ATK also run a flow sensor? Do you need a separate FMM? Excellent question. This is one of the really cool things, and this was on the video that we did earlier, right?
Yep.
Mark asked, what did you ask me? What was the question that you asked me out there?
About expansion. The best bang for your buck on your Apex.
Exactly. So he said, well, you know, if once you buy your Apex, what's the first thing that you should buy to get the most value? And I said, buy the ATK, because nobody wants to do automatic top off. Nobody wants to, you know, to home grow their own or anything like that when you can buy the kit already together. But most of all, when you buy it, you get an extra 2 sensor ports because the ATK only uses 2 of them. And every FMM sensor or accessory now can be plugged into those other 2 ports. And what's the most important one to use?
Leak detection.
Leak detection. So yes, the answer is yes. If you want to do a flow sensor or you want to do a leak detection sensor, you can plug those into 3 and 4.
At least one leak detection, because if something starts leaking, you want to get the alert before your spouse finds it. This goes both ways. I've heard plenty of stories from lady reefers of husbands being upset that the tank leaked. Not bagging on the ladies, because it goes both ways. You want to get that alert before your spouse does. You can clean it up like nothing ever happened.
Okay, so here we go. Somebody asked, Trident coupon for immediate shipping for all attendees. It's not going to be that good.
That's a lot of coupons.
And we're getting close to 300. I think I'm going to, when I get to 300 people on here, we're going to make the announcement. How's that sound? We're getting, we're 36 minutes into the live stream, so hopefully Ken's watching, and we'll make that announcement maybe when we get to 300. So if you guys want to hear that announcement sooner, get some people.
We need 10 more.
Get some people on here. Can we upgrade our current ATK, or do you have to buy the whole thing? Very good question from Peter Din. So you don't have to buy the whole thing. If you want to just get the new PMUP, you can buy that separately, okay, and add that to what you have and use the other PMUP for something different. Or if you wanted to just change out your optical sensors for the newer optical sensors, you could do that on your own and buy the optical sensors. But yes, Paul, who's right. Yours are probably just fine. If they're not broke, don't fix it, is what Paul's telling me. But if you did want to do that, you could do that. It is serviceable. The FMM though, I think that possibly you could get the firmware on it. If you're standalone, you'd have to go to somebody's Apex and probably plug it in and update the firmware. So yes, in a way, you could get the new. You could upgrade the old ATK to the new ATK. Somebody's asking for a Core 30 or Core 40. Who knows? Maybe. Let's see. Any other good questions here?
There's lots of good questions. You just have to choose which one you want.
Is that how it is?
That's how it works.
Well, some are better than others.
We got to do a viewer check. Viewer check.
I'm trying.
Remember, we're getting to the 300.
294.
We got 6
We're not
people.
there yet. You guys better share. You better
You're
share.
shameless.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna hold them to it.
Get your
or at
kids
least we're gonna hold them to the last 5 minutes if we don't get to 300. That's for sure. How can we ensure that we're getting the new sensors and not the old ones? Okay. So to begin with, if you're buying the ATK, you'll know because it says ATK V2. Okay, that's the first way to know. The new sensors, there is one trick to understanding which ones are different, new to old. If you look on the back of them, the old sensors have a little like strain relief plug on them. The new sensors do not. So that's one way that you can tell if you're looking at individual sensors in the bag. As I said, there's nothing wrong with the older sensors. The newer sensors just are going to have a much better longevity to them than the older ones due to some changes that we made.
I probably got 20 of the old ATKs out there, and I've had one, maybe one.
Okay.
I don't even think it was a sensor that went bad.
Good. Here's a good question. Chris Bartlett says, what's the newest best tablet for a display unit? What do you think?
You know, that's a hard one because you can go the cheap route, and I found that every time I do that, they fail within 6 months. Mm-hmm. So I just find a refurbed iPad and spend the money, you set it up, and it just goes, and then you don't have to touch it.
I really like the New Vision ones. I think our Apex people actually pushed the price up on them after I did the video. But I'm with you. I really don't like Android tablets that much. I did an original video with an Amazon Fire tablet.
Yeah,
it worked. It was a little slow and laggy, but if you wanted to have a budget display, it was a decent solution. And it also, at the time, gave 3 columns. And what's ironic is it was a 7-inch tablet that gave you three columns. Mm-hmm. They're gone now, the 7-inch tablets. They went to an 8-inch tablet that gives you 2 columns. So Then we found the New Vision tablets, which are, it's an amazing, the amount of features this tablet has for, at the time, I think it was $69 or something like that. I think now they're $85 or $89.
So cheap.
Yeah, but it has like a crazy processor, I don't remember what, and it does 3 columns, and it has insane resolution on it.
Perfect.
And so I did a video on that. So I would say that is probably the best budget solution, and then if you want to spend a tiny bit more, get a refurb or a used iPad. That's probably the best way to go. Okay. Lee Pinkerton is asking a very common question. Is there any plans to allow adjustments to timing of Trident tests? I know it requires 4 times a day alkalinity, but changing times running would be nice. I know we're looking into that, Lee. There's a number of requests and things that we're seeing from the field, as well as from customers and NSI people as well, that we're looking at in the development team to see what we can possibly implement. So it might be possible. We're not ignoring these questions or these desires. Bob Ellis says he uses a Fire HD10. Somebody's asking a question that is a very common question. Now we're down at 282.
Oh, we're not as entertaining anymore.
Yeah, I guess nobody wants to hear about that
to
Trident that they can buy, or Tridents.
Tridents.
It's a number. It's
There's
a number
hint.
of them.
There's more than one.
Cameras are so tough because most of the cameras out today use methods through cloud servers that don't allow access directly from the browser.
Right.
And Apex Fusion works through a browser interface. And so you have to have a camera, for the most part. There are some exceptions that I'll mention. But for the most part, you have to have a camera where you can get the camera's image in the browser somehow or another.
Right.
Through like an MJPEG stream
Yep.
or something like that. Then you've got a whole nother set of challenges, which is you have to punch a hole in your firewall with port forwarding, and you have to know your IP address and all of these
It's
things.
like the pre-Apex Fusion days.
Yes, it's like it is exactly.
Well, what was that thing?
It's Back to the Future or whatever you want to call
DNS,
it.
but with
You have to do the DYN, DNS.
Yep. You see, I forgot
and
about
you have
it.
all of that stuff we want to leave behind. Well, if you want to have most of the cameras, you have to do that. Exception to that is there are some kind of hacks that you can use a Nest camera. And the problem there is it's changing all the time, how to find the secret. The best way, if you want to use the Nest, is to use either our Facebook group to get information on it, or even better yet, go to the community forum. There's a thread on using the Nest cameras. They will work. They cost you more money. I run one on my tank. It works. But just 4 weeks ago, they changed the API, and I had to go back out and get a new address, and so there's still kind of a trouble with it.
Here's it. Just don't leave your tank. Just stay there all the time.
Okay. Here's another one, Tony Millsap. I'm going to do this one just for Paul's sake, okay? So make him happy and get him to
Poor
frown. Says, your website won't allow shipping reagents to Canada.
Ask Paul.
Yeah, I don't even know about that. Okay. It's because you're trying to order more than one, and our e-commerce system basically is giving you an error message. We did add some information in the description to let people know that's what's happening, but right now we're letting people only order one at a time, and that's why you're getting that error. So if you go back in there, Tony, and fill it out with quantity 1, it will be able to go through in Canada.
If you continue to have trouble, please email us.
And if you continue to have trouble, please email support. Or put in a support ticket on our website. Bob Ellis is asking for RTSP. I don't know, Bob. I'm not. You're okay up here for me. Okay, let's see. Where are we?
Oh, we're 5 away now.
Oh man, it's
No,
295.
it's 295.
It's so close.
So close.
So close. Oh man, you better start sharing this thing. I mean, come on, guys. We're at 47 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it.
It never does. It never does. It goes fast. Okay, Alessandra asked this question more than once. We'll put her back up on the screen here because she wants to know, when it comes to feeding finicky fish, what are both your thoughts on the product Easy Reef's Mastic? I've never used it. Have you?
I've never used it. I hear good things. My fish devour LRS like it's going out of style. It might take them a couple days to get on it. But once they do, they follow me around the tank. It's like crap.
The LRS stuff is good, definitely good food. The fish go nuts for it. I've used other frozen foods, and they're good too, but there's just one step above with I don't know what it is. I think it's the eggs.
Part of it's the cleanliness too. That stuff is so clean.
Yeah.
I've fed other frozen foods, and there's so much junk in the food that the fish don't eat.
My
and then
corals like it.
Sometimes there's junk that your corals don't even eat. It just ends up
Okay.
trash in your tank. But so I hear the good things about the mastic. I just have no personal.
So is it called
experience with
mastic because you stick it?
You can do that. There's a mastic stick where you just stick it on your glass and the fish pick at it. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure my trigger or my Harlequin tusk would rip it
But
right
it looked
off.
weird when I saw it. It didn't look like food.
The fish don't care. They eat it.
I get it, but it still feels kind of like, Soylent Green for my fish. Okay, so I don't know if it's like mashed up other fish into a paste and they're like eating their buddies, or what is it?
Don't tell them that, okay? Just don't tell them. They're happy they're eating it. Just let them eat it. They don't have to know what it is. It's like eating food in a foreign
Okay.
country.
Okay, so there you go. We don't have any real thoughts on it other than we've heard that it's good, and we both like LRS. So there you go. Larry's loving us. So many plugs for Larry. Free food this way, Larry. Just letting you know.
He wants a Trident.
We've got a lot of tanks here. Yeah, no kidding. Actually, I just bought a bunch of food from Larry. I'm stocked up now. And Paul doesn't use much. He's got a little tank he uses the nano food, right, Paul? Good.
We filmed it today.
Yeah, we did. We filmed that and a few others. So be on the lookout for that. We are passionate reef keepers here.
This is true. I have some very nice tanks here today that I saw at Neptune Systems. I saw some fish that I want to add to my system. I've got a shipment coming this week, so I'm adding them to the list. There are definitely some corals that we're going to try to sneak out some frags for. I can't trade you Neptune gear because you already have Neptune gear.
Yeah.
I have to say that has worked in the past. I've traded Neptune gear for frags. It's not going to work when you're trying to get frags on a Neptune system.
Yeah.
They don't care about having Neptune. They're like, we'll just walk into the warehouse and get all they want.
Pretty much. Fusion dark mode, somebody wants. Do you like dark mode stuff?
I probably should use it more than I could do, but not my
I
thing.
don't. We don't have it obviously for Fusion, and we do have some people asking for it. Somebody's asking if there are any plans for a 3/4 inch sensor. What do you think about that?
No, I just used a 1 inch.
Yeah, that's what I say. Use a 1 inch and use a step down. You're going to get more flow through it anyway.
That's what I do on my tank. I've got a 3/4, that's 1 inch over to the refugium, and that's how I know the return pump's running.
Yep. Okay, 298. I can't do it.
Two
I
more.
just can't
Oh,
do it.
308, 308.
All
There it
right.
is. It's there.
Woo! Somebody must have done a share. Okay, we're over
Okay.
300.
We appreciate
All
you
right,
plugging it.
saltwateraquarium.com.
All right, here's the thing. I hope he put it up there. If he
He's
didn't put it up there, they're
listening.
gonna
I
be
guarantee
mad.
he's listening.
Right now, saltwateraquarium.com. Go to the website, do a search for the keyword unicorn. We've got 5 tridents up for grabs. First come, first serve. Saltwateraquarium.com. Look, do a search for unicorn. 5 tridents up for grab. Let's see how fast
Go
another
get
bails.
them. Yeah, it's like all of a sudden it goes, you see it drop off, you're like 308 and all the way down. But yeah, any of you guys out there, don't have a Trident yet, I've asked Ken, it's one per person.
Yep.
And if he knows somebody who already bought one, I'd prefer they didn't get another one.
Please don't buy another one. They got plenty of people who want them.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're trying to do what we can for you guys, and it
They
was
are
really
building
nice.
them. I saw them. They are in production.
It was nice for Ken to wait rather than just throw them up on the website and let us announce it here on the show. Man, I think that's about it, unless we have more questions out there on the ATK, the new ATK.
We're down to
Yeah, 291. Here we go. We've got the information.
Bye-bye.
It's sold out. LOL. Out of stock. No inventory listed yet. Already gone. Well,
It's got to be nice. I got to take a step back on this one. You guys, everyone gives you a hard time about it. It was 2.5 years ago when you rolled it out.
I know.
There's always things in rolling products out and you can't anticipate, but now it's here. You've got crushing demand on things. How does that make you feel as part of the team?
We feel awesome about the product. It was a hard slog for everybody. I mean, first and foremost, the engineering team to be able to pull this whole thing together. It really is an amazing feat of engineering that I know reef keepers appreciate it.
Yeah.
But if you go out and explore what other options are out, even in the scientific community, you would appreciate it that much more. And then, to everybody else, throughout the company, from support to the guys out back who are putting the stuff in boxes, and then to us on the sales and marketing side. I mean, it's not certainly the hardest part, but man, having to go out there and face all the customers day in and day out.
Because you've gotten that question more than once.
Oh my gosh, it was just, and then have to go up, obviously, at Macna and say, we don't have it ready for you.
Again.
And,
Yep.
so,
Yep.
the answer to your question is, yeah, now that it's out there, it certainly is just a breath of relief. We're still getting the arrows slung at us because make them faster and everything, but that's,
We'll get there.
magnitude's better, for sure. Got one. Woo!
Someone got it. There you go.
Marquis James Vader
Haggerty.
Haggerty. I don't know if that's a real name or not.
It doesn't matter. They got one.
But they got one according to them.
Thanks for shopping at
So-
saltwateraquarium.com. We're glad you got one.
He says saltwateraquarium.com, just posted up here, sold out. Already got one. Brandon Rush got two. I don't think so, Chris. I don't think so. Nice try, though. Okay, you're just trying to light people up on here. Just trying to get them all riled up. It was posted 30 seconds after they announced it. Oh, man. Okay. So it took him a couple minutes for it to get up there. But hey, maybe on the next live stream, maybe Ken will want to do it again, get a plug.
You never know.
And help you guys out. Certainly a great live stream. I appreciated having you here.
Absolutely. It's good to be back.
Film and do all the fun stuff here. We're going to go from here over to my house.
And film another tank.
And film another tank. Who knows? Maybe I'll turn on a live stream over there.
Let's do it.
We'll live stream the filming of the stuff that we're doing for Neptune.
People like all kinds of stuff. It's constantly amazed me what people want to see.
Maybe we'll do it. We'll see. We'll see how it goes over there. We're going to have some dinner and see a tank.
Let's go for it.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. As far as the next episode of Let's Talk Reef, I will be in Ecuador for what is the normal time. So what I'd like you to do, for those of you who are listening, and I'm going to make another post on this somewhere, I don't know how, if you know somebody who has a killer tank in Ecuador, because I could not find a reef store in Ecuador. I looked online and everything. I found aquarium stores,
but no.
All like Amazon, freshwater kinds of things. If you know somebody who has an incredible aquarium in the corridor from Quito all the way down to Riobamba and down that way to Cuenca, I want to go see it, and I'll live stream from that aquarium. So if it's in that zone, I'll make it happen. So if you guys know somebody down there, let me know. Go ahead and send an email to sales@neptunesystems.com or whatever, and I think that would be the coolest thing ever.
People
to go
like
do a
seeing
live
tanks all over
stream
the
of a
world.
tank in Ecuador. So anyway, outside of that, until the next Let's Talk Reef, thanks for joining us, guys. Make sure you like us and mash or smash that subscribe button on the YouTube.
Works.
And for Let's Talk Reef, it's Mark Callahan today. And Terrence, we're out of here. Enjoy those fish.
Thanks, guys. And Garrett.